Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Before we go any further, I want to real quickly just do a quick disclaimer and just let you know that Bridging the Gap is a local producer, and we are not part of PAC 14, but we do appreciate PAC 14 allowing us to use their studio and just allowing us to bring forth the information that we have. We do this for the community. Bridging the Gap is all community. We have no agenda of our own. We know that without unity, there is no community. So with that in mind, enjoy the show. Okay, so we're back here with Keisha James.
Hi,
and
back again.
Yes, and I just want to spend a few moments talking about the prayer vigil, this prayer vigil number 3 we just had, Cry Out.
Right. Yeah, it was amazing. It was a lot of people that actually had a battle cry, and I was like, I'm just going to be transparent. I'm thinking, Lord, I'm not like a yeller in my prayer, but they were like, it wasn't like a bad yell, but they were pushing and they were travailing. And I don't usually do that in front of people. I'm very soft-spoken. So I was like, Lord, I just want to thank you. So by the grace of God, you put me last. And I got to pray us out. And I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
So that's my little disclaimer right now.
Yeah. Well, there was definitely a lot of prayer warriors out. And shout out to Pastor Craig Mitchell for organizing it. And,
yes.
The whole focus is focus on the city. And, I did also get an opportunity for a few moments to speak. And one of the things that I said is that there's going to be probably a little bit more pressure added now that we are doing this. Mm-hmm. And right after that, there it went, stuff started happening in the schools.
Yeah. And there was a fight from what I hear, and then there's just so much going on. I read again this morning about an overdose at the school, and I'm like, Lord, I just need you to come Jesus, come, because it's sad. These are kids. This is school. Your life is that bad. You have to do a drug at school. There are more ways around that. First, he hears your prayers. If you're listening to this, I don't know where this is coming from. It's got to be Jesus. But if you're going through something, look up. God is always as close as a mention of his name. If we think on things that are just, true, and pure, he surely has us. So this is temporal, but he is in eternity. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it definitely is something going on, but I do believe that things are going to get better. But there is definitely a concern. As a matter of fact, here on Bridging the Gap, within this next, I say probably next month or so, we're going to spend some time talking to different community leaders, and we're going to be talking about what's going on, in these schools. And, there's definitely a lot of anger, a lot of things are being said. And, one of the things that concerns me is the amount of phone time that these kids are having. And even with the fights, you notice that you have about 12 different angles of phones, and most of them are held by kids. It's definitely a lot going on, and that's one of the reasons why we have prayer vigils. And I know we're planning to have one again this month and have more people come out, but it's definitely a lot of concerns going on in the community.
Yeah, and I think the more we make the devil mad, the more we're going to hear about these things, but that just shows me that God is much greater.
Absolutely. We talk about the concerns we have with the homeless, but society altogether is our concern. So, here on Bridging the Gap, what we want to do is devote as much time as needed to talk about it. And today we're going to have Monica Brookes, who's the president. Yeah,
so excited. I got to speak to her a little bit before. So,
she's the president of the NAACP here locally. We're also going to talk to, he's actually one of our newest co-hosts. We're going to have Tyler Jones on, who has a
great
nice
kid.
He really is.
I can call him a kid. I think I'm mother to him.
Yeah, he has a group of questions he wants to ask. Shout out to Council Lady Jackson, who wanted to be here, but she had a prior engagement, but she definitely sent some questions. So I think this is going to be a very informative time, and
much needed. And I'm quite sure we'll talk about the fight incident, but it's sad, that we have to keep talking about this stuff, but I want to add, please make sure you get the full story before you make a judgment on anything. And that's kind of why we have Monica Brookes on site today, because when you see a clip of something, you have to know something led up to that clip, and you must know there might be a full story out there. So don't ever judge before you hear the everything, because sometimes people just put out what they want you to see, when God wants us to seek out truth.
Exactly. And I've always said there's always three sides of a story.
There's yours and the truth.
So again, we may not always get to the bottom of things at first, but if you just give a little bit of time, I have a really good friend of mine, Delegate Barry Beecham, who says he thinks long before he speaks, and that's I think that's a very wise way of doing things. So when we come back, we will have Monica Brookes on.
And definitely never go by a feeling, because your feeling might be wrong.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. Okay, we are back with Monica Brookes, the president of the NAACP. Hello, Monica.
Hello.
Welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about Monica Brookes?
Monica Brookes. Monica Brookes is a mother, a wife, and a business owner, committed to the community. I have never been one to like any kind of injustice from my childhood, but I am here to just do my part to help make a difference in my community any way that I can. And I want to see us get to a place where we can really show some real love to one another.
Good. Thank you. Now, you're the president of NAACP, right?
Right.
Now, what's the role of the NAACP?
So the role of the NAACP is literally to fight against any type of discrimination, injustice, targeted specifically to Black people. This organization, while it was founded, so many years ago in the early 1900s, unfortunately, it still has a need. It still has a role to play, because there continues to be so much targeting from schools, law enforcement, government, and the community at large against Black people. And let's be honest, a person's skin color should not be any determining factor in how someone should be treated.
Absolutely not. You should not be. Thank you. Now, as the president, what are some of the accomplishments that you've had?
So, I do want to celebrate the fact that we have helped countless community members deal with and handle discriminatory things that have happened to them. We have gone into definitely every high school, some of the middle schools, and even a few elementary schools. We have addressed matters in the public sector, in business, as well as law enforcement. So we have been strong advocates. We go to court with people. We help them file paperwork, and we fight for them when there's an injustice that's been had. And we do that. Part of what we do is building relationships. Here we're on bridging the gap, building relationships. And with those relationships that we build, we have a level of credibility. So typically, if we go and approach an entity and say, hey, this is going on, this is what's happening, whatever, let's do an investigation, then they respect that we have done our due diligence on our end, and we're bringing something legitimate to them. So not only that, we were able to get the city of Salisbury to do a public apology for the lynchings that took place by government officials in the city of Salisbury.
Oh, wow.
We, of course, did a lawsuit to fight for the rights of Black folk to have representation on the council more fairly. That at-large system was one that was completely unattainable for any person of color. I mean, pick one. And so the lawsuit was one of the things that we push for in order to bring change. And there's a lot more things, and I think you're probably going to ask me some questions in a little bit about what else came as a result of that lawsuit. But we've also been in the trenches. We've gotten lots of legislation, helped to get legislation pushed forward. We have had quarterly meetings with the governor's office as well as the state superintendent of schools to discuss matters of racism in the schools from faculty as well as student behavior, and how can we bring that change. So we're very committed to doing whatever we can to fight for the citizens here in Wacomico County, and we do that on a local level as well as throughout the state.
Okay, busy. Staying busy.
And we're all volunteers.
Not getting paid for it, so there's a
Nobody's
passion
getting paid.
for you. Okay. Now, minority district. I'm going to talk a little bit about the minority districts. How were they drawn?
So the way that it had to be done and through the court process was that it would be 2 districts that are minority black districts. I mean, majority black districts, pardon me. So at least 2 districts. So years ago, many years, I think in the 80s, their NAACP at that time was one of the groups pushing for there to be diversity, because there had never been a person of color on the council back then. And so there was a push to change that and to get that diversity. So because of that, there was one minority district, as it's called. I don't like the word minority, I'm just going to be honest. But one minority district that was put on there. And so what happened was, instead of having 1 person of color and 4 potentially non-persons of color, just 5 individuals, some happy person decided to dilute it even more. And so what they did was they said, hey, well, how about an at-large? We're going to do 2 at-large, because it was all at-large. 5 at-large. So we went from 5 at-large to 5 districts. So we're representing districts. But then someone says, we don't like that. We want a way to keep the at-large system. And that also now, again, dilutes the person of color vote even more. So now there's 7, 2 at large, 5 districts. Well, since that time, there has never been a person of color of any type in the at-large system, right? Not one. And so we said, it's high time we try to do something to change that, to see if we can make a difference in outcomes. Now, not from the perspective of, we don't say that black people are a monolith, but what we do recognize is that there are a lot of things that go on here that there's just not enough diverse representation. And it doesn't seem to be a priority of any kind to many people. And gosh, I mean, if I step outside of this political piece, our largest city here in Wacomico County, 93% of the employees of the city of Salisbury has the highest rate of people of color in the whole county. But 93% of the employees in the city of Salisbury, white.
They work for the city of Salisbury?
White. 93%. How does that happen? When you have a city that is quite diverse compared to the rest. And so that's something that we discussed with the city, and we're still continuing to have talks. At some point, we're going to prioritize that again, but you have to recognize that there need to be different voices brought to the table so that we can get greater understanding of one another, because everyone's not the same. We have different cultures, different backgrounds, different understandings, different upbringings. And those things factor in how, how we raise, our kids and what have you.
Sure. So when the city hires whoever they hire, is it going upon merit, or what are they doing?
So, listen, you tell me. Because I'm gonna be honest, I had a big problem last year. The city of Salisbury, 3 of the firings of the 3 people in leadership that were terminated from the city of Salisbury were all black people.
I'll have to do my homework on that. It's the first time I'm hearing on this.
Look it up.
Interesting.
And so I believe that everyone should be hired on merit.
On merit, right?
Okay.
Not on color.
Anybody who disputes that is absolutely.
Sure.
I don't know where you're coming from.
Sure.
But here's the thing: organizations like NAACP, what our role is to say, hey, you're missing some folk. So it's like a casting call, or an open call to NFL, because I'm a football fan, right? So NFL, and you have the guys who can come walk on, right? They can try out. They're not recruited, but they can come try out. And so they put it out there. Hey, whoever you are, you think you got it, you could come on out here, try out, and potentially you can make the team. But if I only send that invitation out to this group here, and I don't give it out to everybody, that's the problem. And so the reason why people make these comments about, oh, these groups are getting favoritism and all of that stuff, it's not favoritism. It's called catching up. It's called, how long have we been eliminated from this position, or having the opportunity to show what we're made of, to show what we can do, as opposed to you just picking your friend who's not qualified. Nobody talks about that. Hiring your kid who's not qualified, hiring your cousin because that's going to cause a family feud. But as soon as somebody of color gets in, then there's a question for some reason. Mathematics came from people of color, right? Let's go in. I mean, I can go in with you, but at the end of the day, we have to recognize that there are brilliant people in every facet of life, and they all deserve a chance.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've always believed that if you work hard, you can achieve. Growing up where I grew up at, I was always told that nobody else can do anything that I can't do anything that somebody else can't do. Everybody's equal, but when it comes to getting a job or whatever, it should definitely be done off of merit. It shouldn't be done off of whether this person or family or things like that. And it's kind of sad to hear that actually goes on.
Oh, yes. May the best candidate win. We've had people in the county who have been angry because they believed that they deserved a position that they were not qualified for. And when someone came in who was qualified, who didn't look like them, who looked like me, why do they get to get this job? Well, because they have the qualifications, you don't. So things are slowly changing, I hope, so that we get away from this place of we're just hooking each other up because we know each other.
I hope that's not going on, but
it's going on.
Okay. I mean, we do live in a world. We don't have to be of it, but we do live in this world. Now, the next census will be done in 2030. And from what I understand, the minority districts were based upon being 100% black, I guess American black, and being American white. Will the next one be including the Hispanic, the Haitian population, and how does that actually even, come into play?
So the majority, I guess, minority group in this area are black folk. That's just
American black.
Yes. Well, yes. But Haitian black people also can be counted in the census as black. I just looked it up.
Interesting. Now, was it last time, though?
That I don't know. I would assume so, because when the census is drawn, because I worked the census before, so when you go door to door, literally the people can say, "I want to be recognized as this." So that's how it works, literally. So I go knock on your door. Hello, hi, I'm from the census. I'm just here to collect the data of the people in this household, and can you please tell me how many people in the household? Boom. Can you please tell me, what do you identify as for your race?
Interesting.
Oh, yes. That's how it is. So Asian, Middle Eastern, some Latino or Latinos can say, I'm white. And they get counted as white. And we were told, you cannot dispute that. If they tell you I'm white, you put white.
So if I say I'm white, they got to put white?
Apparently.
Interesting.
Apparently.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
You know, so, and I mean, I was in some households that were like super thick accented, you know, and I'm like, you know, brown skin, you know, and I'm going, so you white? Yes.
Wow. So, I mean, and I do have some friends that that are not from this country, and they consider themselves to be either black or white. So, but yeah, that's just kind of trying to figure out when they do this census, who does the census?
That comes from the feds.
And well, I'm pretty sure they'll be a little bit more distinct this time than last time. And then again, I don't know. Well, I don't know. It's 2030s. That's another few years from now. Well, let me ask you this before we go to our next segment. This is one of those drum roll questions. Will you be running in 2026?
You know how many calls I get for that?
Ring.
Ring. So here's the deal. I am not planning to run in 2026 because I believe I am where I'm supposed to be. I'm called to be leader of the NAACP. To continue to advocate all across the county for everyone and to ensure that there's fairness all around. If for some reason I felt God called me here for such a time as this, and if not, then sure, I'd have been right up in there.
Bonus question before we go to our next. Are there any people that are not black in the NAACP?
Oh gosh, yes. So
I've been wanting to ask that question for years.
Thank you for bringing that up because the NAACP was founded by black and white folk. Literally, here's the deal. I'm going to make it super plain. Why is there an NAACP? To fight against any type of discrimination, hurt, harm, danger put against black people. And anyone who agrees with that can be a member of the NAACP. That's it. It's not about black people, white people as far as membership. It's about that common goal and recognizing there's systemic racism and black people still continue to be number one on that list. And what can we do to try to change that? So absolutely. People, I get white people all the time going, can I join? And I said, yeah, you can join. Of course.
It's been a question I've been wanting to ask for years.
Yes, NAACP does not discriminate against others, but we fight against this discrimination of others.
Got you. Okay. Thank you. That was that bonus question. When we come back, we'll be joined by my wife, and we'll be joined by Tyler Jones. Stay tuned. Okay, we are back, and we're back with the panel. We're now joined by my wife again, Keisha James.
Back again.
And we also have Tyler Jones on the end there,
Hey,
along
Tyler.
with the president of the NAACP, Monica Brookes. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And now we all had an opportunity to come up with some questions, and we're going to do some interacting here, but I want to turn it over to Tyler to start out with that.
All right. And Ms. Monica, I know the NAACP won a landmark case earlier this year, and that case forced the county into redistricting some of their voting maps. Could you just tell the audience the reason for that, and then what the NAACP expects to change from that?
Absolutely. So thank you for your question. So I was actually saying, we did kind of touch on it a little bit, but I was saying that there used to be a system of 5 at-large. And there had never been any person of color, indigenous, Asian, nothing, ever on that council. So there was pressure from NAACP and members of the community to change that system. Well, through that, they said, all right, well, we'll have 1 and we'll turn it to 5 districts. And as a result, there was 1 person of color, but then they said, not good enough. We still want at large. So then instead of having the 5 as it was before and keeping the 5, it became 7. And so that one person of color's vote was also diluted again. So the purpose of this was, since that time, that at-large system has never been accessible by any means, to any person of color. And so we wanted that to change. We've tried to change it from the inside. It was also put in through the redistricting committee made this recommendation. So the council said to us and made some comments, oh, you guys didn't even ask us, didn't talk to us. You should have come to us first. You already knew it. So when you give people an opportunity to respond and do something and they choose not to, why do we have to keep asking? So we chose action instead. And so the goal is to have 2 districts that are majority Black districts, and to give a greater opportunity for there to be more diversity with that.
Okay. So before I get into Councilwoman Jackson's questions, with that, is the NAACP going to kind of merge in the Central Committee and start helping to identify candidates? Or are you going to leave that to...
So NAACP is nonpartisan, but they say we are nonpartisan, but we're political as HE double hockey sticks, okay? And so what that means is that we're very engaged in the process of voting and voter education and wanting to see good candidates, right? Mm-hmm. We don't pick along political views or political lines, but we do encourage the community to run for office. We've had several courses that we've set up for the community free to teach them about running for office and how to be a candidate and things like that. So we don't connect with political affiliation, so central committees or things like that, that's not us. But what we do, I hope that we all have the same goal, is to see the best candidates in these roles, and also to look at have the community see themselves in positions of leadership, right? To give them a chance to know that, your vote is important too, your voice is important, and you can make a difference as well.
I love that. All right, so first question for Councilwoman Jackson. What was the toughest battle with Wicomico County Executive and the County Council when it came to redistricting?
So, as I mentioned, there was a whole where why are you doing this? You should have if you just came and talked to us, that sort of thing. But here's the thing. They drugged this thing out for over a year. Just literally did nothing. Just until they did something. And so, honestly, our attorneys, we were kind of doing back and forth, but it could have been wrapped up quite quickly if the county had just said, yeah, this is something we need to do. And it was not just a redistricting. We also asked for quarterly meetings with the council from Black organizations in the community, as well as for a Human Rights Advisory Committee to be put in the county. And that's something that we just sent word to county executive about, hey, let's go when we get into that part. Because the city of Salisbury has one, but we find that there are a lot of things that just seem to go missed. And so this Human Rights Advisory Council is a way for us to try to bring in that little piece to show things that maybe the council's missing. Understood.
So the holdup wasn't about funding or resources. It just seemed like your request was falling upon deaf ears.
That part. Because literally, the longer that this deliberation happened, that's where money was spent. But I found it absolutely amazing when the county's attorney, the council's attorney, said publicly that you need to settle this case and you're never going to win it. They said it to the council. So in other words, you wasted your time dragging this thing out. They said that if you don't, it can go to something really large and cost millions of dollars. Well, we have absolutely no interest in taking money away from our fellow citizens. Absolutely not. And so to get that message finally from that attorney was like, hey, because other municipalities have had that. They have paid millions of dollars. Our county had to pay like $100,000.
So, thank you. Was this, and I'll get back to you there, brother. Was this actual lawsuit against the council?
This is against the county, the Board of Education and the Board of Elections, because we were saying that the way the system was set up, which is actually mixed in through the council, the school board, and it's done through the Board of Elections. So that's where the lawsuit happened. It's throughout the entire county, because you're not able to change this part without including this part. So.
Because from what I'm hearing, I'm still hearing the Board of Education, the council, and the Board of Elections. So did the executive have, was he on as far as part of the lawsuit, or was it all council?
It's part of the lawsuit because if you're saying were we filing against the county executive? No. But the county as a whole.
Okay.
Yes. And
I see what you're saying.
because that is the only way that the change would be able to happen, and to not miss any absolutely necessary aspects.
So the council knew about this, they just kept putting it on the back burner. That's what you're saying, they kept dragging their feet on it.
Absolutely. Because
Interesting.
we filed it in December of 2023.
Interesting. Okay.
This did not get settled until February or March of this year.
That's a whole year.
We didn't go to mediation until the end of 2024.
That's a lot of
Just to
drag.
clarify, were there any other organizations that were involved in the lawsuit?
Absolutely. So the Caucus of African American Leaders was involved, Phoenix Youth Project, Amber Green. We had individuals that were involved, Miriam Ashanti, as well as Dr. Eddie Boyd. Our attorneys were the ACLU, because they just had also won a suit for Frederick. I'm sorry, not Frederick, in Caroline County. Caroline County has never had a person of color, and it's been 200 years.
Wow.
In Frederick's, is it Frederick's? What's the city called? Fredericksburg. Oh, I'm missing the. Please forgive me, Caroline County. But in that city, they have never had a person of color, and the city is 200 years old. So they had been trying, and they couldn't. And so when it opened up, they now have 2. I think they might have even gotten 3 people of color.
So what was the, how did from the council, how did Councilwoman Shaney Shields from Minority District feel about this lawsuit? And how did, from the Board of Education, Mr. Brown?
Well, I have not heard from Mr. Brown about it.
Okay.
So I can't speak to that. Councilwoman Shields, from what she spoke at the council, was in alignment with what the rest of the council members were saying. Well, you could have come to us, and you should have talked to us, and all of this. And I didn't agree.
So she just followed suit.
That's what I say. And so I didn't agree with it, because again, this was brought through the redistricting, and I found in doing some research, many of the recommendations that have come either through the charter committee or some of the redistricting, these people spend all of these hours and hours and hours coming together to work to come to some good decisions for the greater good. They're rarely adopted. Rarely.
Wow.
Rarely. If you should go look it up.
So when it was 5 members on the council, how many years ago was that?
In the 80s.
In the 80s, because we got
That was the last time was the 80s when it changed, I believe. It was the 80s.
Okay, so the none of the standing council people were on there then. I know we got a couple been there for 20 years.
No,
so
those people are long gone.
Okay, I was just wondering on that. Okay, and we want to just touch on something also. The little incident that happened at Parkside. There was some, of course, a lot of people have seen some footage on that. There was a partial footage out there, and then there was the part that I actually got, and then I found out there was more to it than even what I saw.
Right.
But before you start commenting, because I know you said you actually have heard a little bit more than what we've heard, I have a question. There's language. I was talking to somebody just before we went on. Language.
Right.
Within the school system, or should there be words that should not be used by anybody? I mean, I know when you're home and you're hanging with people, I don't care what color. Let's just be real. We all have friends of different colors that may you comment and talk just like you call them buddies, you call them stuff that you don't call around other people. Should that language not be used by anybody in the school system?
So, in my opinion, the school system itself and that environment should be a safe space.
Right.
Right. We have to. What we should be doing is training up these youth to be able to function well in society. So that includes how they speak, how they carry themselves, you know, how to make friends, how to make wise decisions, all of those kinds of things, right? So when you're talking about language, you also have to think about what message are you sending. So if you choose to be a certain way outside the school, then that's on you. But within the school, there should be a whole focus on everyone treated fairly, and nobody should be called out of their names, whether that's cursed out of their name or use a racial slur or whatever. It shouldn't be anybody. But here's the thing. People come from places of brokenness
Right.
that contribute to what comes out of their mouth.
Right.
Their life experiences, their parents' experiences, whatever situation, or something that just happened in the school.
Right.
That shapes their thinking, and then that results out of, you know, out of the heart comes the issues of life.
Right.
You know, out of the heart the mouth speaks.
Yes.
So your mouth reflects what you're feeling
Yeah.
and what your experiences are, good or bad. And then
There's also that moment.
that moment and how can people handle, some people their tempers flare and they don't know how to control themselves and
Right.
and
They don't
all of
have
that.
the Holy Ghost.
This is true.
All those things factor in, right? And then the bottom line is the parents,
The parents, yeah.
the ones that say it's okay for you to talk like this. I've never seen so many kids cursing people out like
Right.
No respect at home.
Right. Some kids curse out their parents in this day and age.
Listen, I not the one or the two.
No.
So no, and I taught for 6 years, and I made it very clear. Day one, hey,
At Christian
here.
school too, right?
yes, I'm here.
Did you get it? Did you have a lot of kids talking disrespectful in Christian school?
It happens because, you know, it's like what they say, put a car in the garage doesn't make you, you know, you step in the garage doesn't make you a car.
Right.
Right.
Just because you go to a Christian school doesn't mean that
You're a Christian.
that you're a Christian
Yeah.
and know how to act. No. And so there are kids, just as anywhere else, that do all kinds of things there too, but not my
Especially
classroom.
when their parents aren't around, you know.
But not my classroom.
Tyler, I know you had some input on the school situation.
No, I was just because you and I were having a dialogue about how could we work together to resolve these types of conflicts.
Sure.
And to me, I think that's just more anti-bullying programs. I think that this kind of
Good point.
it's crazy to me that we're still talking about and pushing for African American studies when you look at the number and you see the amount of black kids that are going through the schools. This will, one, help them with a sense of pride, and maybe we can start to shift the narrative about the racial differences. If people could see us in a broader light, not when we were enslaved or not when we were fighting for our rights. There's a history, an entire history of black people before and beyond that. That we don't touch on in school. So I think that helps to shape the perspective as well. And I just think that the Board of Education or some people with the authority should look into offering those classes. We have a very diverse group here on the Eastern Shore now, and we don't speak of any of those histories.
Thank you. Good point. And here's what I want to say to those that are listening and watching. If you have any ideas, suggestions for what's going on in the school system, the proper place to go is to either the board or the superintendent of schools.
Right.
You know, going to
decent and in order.
Yeah, going to the city council, the county council, or the county executive, you're barking up the wrong tree. What's going on in those school systems, you've got to talk to the people who are in charge there.
Yes. Don't listen to false information. Go to the source. Just like in anything else, go to the source and find out what's true first. Don't just go by, especially like again, that first clip, like, that wasn't the full story. You've got to get the full story. Don't go based on hearsay either.
Now, I do want to say something that, we're going to be doing a lot more segments here about the schools. But one thing I did notice that they had there that they didn't have when I was growing up, you had about 12 different people with phones up.
Oh,
Yeah.
My question is, in school, what are you learning if you're on your phone? And are some of these...
Why is your phone in the classroom?
Right, but not only that, are some of these arguments, some of these things happening over social media between classrooms, and instead of when I was growing up, meet me at 3 o'clock, is meet me in the hall where I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
You know?
Those were the days. Because everyone is now motivated by going viral. They want to be the one to show you got to see this. Look
how many views I got.
There's about 30,000 people saw that one clip.
And just that clip.
Just that
clip. So
clip.
that's too many people that didn't get the
And that
full
was on
story.
Facebook. That wasn't even on Snapchat. I call it Snapchat.
Without the phones in school, how would we know that we need to have these types of dialogues?
True.
That's true.
And that's the rub. As a teacher,
good point.
what I saw when I was still teaching is that, yes, I agree with you, because when it's your kid in the school, you're like, well, shoot, if something goes down, I want my kid.
Well, they should have cameras in the classrooms.
Right.
They should.
Yes.
But there's a legal piece of that for some. There's something going on with that. But even though you want to be able to see what's what, a lot of the bullying happens during the school day
on social media.
On the phones.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So literally kids are getting texted, oh, you this and that, and you, I'm gonna kill you, and all of this is all day long, ding ding ding, and everybody's spreading it, and then the other kids are like, did you know so and so said they're gonna get you after school?
Did you hear? Did you hear?
And so it's hard. If you can get, like, I had my kids listen. I told them, if I see your phone, I'm taking it. So they already knew. Like I gave them zero tolerance. There was no like, okay, well next time, no. I let them know. I'm a find one of y'all to make an example of, and I'm doing it, and everybody got the picture.
Yep.
So I'm old school. Like, I'm not doing all that playing around with you kids. I'm not doing that.
Well, and another thing I've seen with the phones, though, is that it's easy to post the craziest of stuff. Like, let's just say that a couple of weeks ago when the guy Charlie Kirk was shot, I literally watched. I have never in my life seen somebody shot in real time.
Right.
They literally posted to Facebook watching a bullet hitting a man's head. So the things that you can put on social media,
I've not seen that.
Oh yeah, it drives people to post more of this. The fight scene at the World Star. I used to make a joke about that. To now, you literally can just do something, and everybody. From what I heard in the background of that coming up, the longer clip was
the encouragement.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I do want to make just real quick. I do want to say that while you're talking about language, people choose to pick certain language that they know is going to stick a dagger. And when I feel like when that young lady kept continuing to say that, that was her attempt to do something super heinous to instill fear. To send a word of, I know this is how I feel, or this is something I'm going to say as a word of attack, and it's wrong. It's wrong. It's vile. It's harmful, and for many people it is triggering. And so, to me, that right there should never be tolerated. I consider it hate speech. I'm just be honest. That's what I'm calling it, because she kept repeating it. When you blurt something, like you were saying, sometimes you blurt something, it's still not good, but that was your one. But then when you keep on going, then you want to do it. You want to be delivered in that. And so I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, well, you know what, they're kids, or she's just in this and whatever. And I'm sorry, if it was my kid and somebody was threatening them with a gun that they're going to go shoot my kid.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
You don't play with people's children.
Right.
And I hope, and I know there's investigating, which is what we said, hey, we want the law enforcement to investigate and do all of these things, but to threaten to shoot somebody, and for kids not to think, to not understand the severity. I think this stuff has been so downplayed, and what you said is so valid about actually seeing somebody murdered live. Like, what the? It's desensitizing us as a community to the things that are absolutely wrong and vile. That should never ever happen. That right there should not be tolerated. Period. Point blank. I have never been called the N-word.
Right.
Maybe because just because where I've been, where I'm from, or whatever. But this shouldn't be happening today.
And
contrary to that, I definitely don't have the color, but I am a black woman.
You are.
But as but as a child, I was called the N-word, and unfortunately, I've gotten into fights, with people because being of mixed race, of course, I've dealt with jealousies, I've dealt with it all, and that's why I say, I don't know what may have come out of my mouth in those instances. That was before Christ. Let me just put that out there. I'm like, but yes, to repeat it, no, that's definitely not called for.
And thank you. Just to kind of like add on to that, I can say in my past, and you notice I'm being careful when I say this, in moments of arguments and stuff, there's been things that have ended relationships because I didn't have control over what I said next. And my concern is at that young of an age, granted, this was something that was said that really was overboard. But what is the next step? Are we going to keep going at it, or we're going to let them say, hey, this is not right, and now you need to move it on to not doing it anymore? In other words, we don't want any copycats.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we don't, and then a lot of people out here seriously like, oh, this is how you treat them. Well, I'm going to do it. It's really a really bad world we're living in right now.
Unfortunately.
And I was really, my concern is language in the classroom, the language in the schools, language on the buses. Look, like I said, there's a lot of times that people of two different races that have been around each other for a while, they'll use words that they should not be using. And and then once they get mad, I've had, in my life, I have been around many different people in many different races, and I've had people of my family tell me, you don't know what that person is going to say when they're mad at you.
Right, exactly.
So if you allow it when they're not mad at you, what's going to happen when they are?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Language, but.
And how people, I think, what kind of tones, like, where does this come from? When you put little kids together, they just play. They love each other.
The roots.
All of this is created.
Right. Where are they getting it from?
I was in Sam's Club. And there was this cute little girl. You could tell she's mixed race. And she's running around and what have you. And her mother, who was Caucasian, was like, come here, Shelly, or whatever her name was. Get over here. She's trying to get back over here. And so the little girl's still going, still going. And in the back, there was another older white woman. I think that was her mom. So this little girl's running. So the mother runs and catches her, grabs her arm. I'd say she's about 3 years old. Maybe. She grabs her arm, and the little girl said, get your hands off me, you stupid. Ooh. And I was like,
where'd she hear that?
Oops.
Wow.
So 3 years old.
Yeah.
And me and the other lady in there, we locking eyes. We're like, did we just hear what we heard? So we need to just get back to, connecting with our humanity.
Connecting with your kids.
Listen, and tighten up kids that need to be tightened up. I mean, I'm just saying, some kids, they never heard the word no.
Up too, though.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Okay.
Well, listen, we're going to have you back on here, Monica.
Yes,
we're going to have to end this segment here. But yeah, this is just something we're definitely going to be talking about because they are the future. Actually, I think I heard you singing were you singing Whitney Houston earlier? I believe the children are our future. We've got to teach them well.
Yeah.
Some of those old songs, man, they had a lot of points they were making there.
Indeed.
But
I definitely want to talk to you some more because maybe a headline for next segment. I read today about lack of African American teachers in Stephen Decatur High. I read that today because unfortunately, it was I don't know if they were downplaying the Turning Point USA, because I definitely defend that in the school, but they were voicing their opinions like, oh, we're going to talk about this, but what about the teacher situation? It's been years since
bad.
they've had African American teachers.
I'm well aware because our church is in Berlin, so I'm well aware about Stephen Decatur.
Okay.
So this means you're going to be coming back. We need to talk about that.
Apparently.
Indeed.
But
All right.
apparently, but real quick, we need them here too.
Okay.
To Tyler's point about representation, we
Right.
need these more diversified, but they're working on it here. We're seeing some of it here.
Okay.
But yes,
Good.
we'll get on that, Stephen Decatur.
All right.
Okay. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned. We're going to have more from Bridging the Gap in the near future. Have a great one.
Bye.